Hey everyone, welcome to another session with me. I am Sanyukta Saxena and we are continuing with the series which is on Tangled letters, and today we'll be drawing the letter B. Right? So hope you are enjoying the series. I do read all your comments and suggestions and feedback, and I'll try my best to fix the problems, right? So let's get started today and do the letter B, right? So what I'm going to do here is, again, just like I did earlier, start with a rough pencil B like this, right? So I have made a B here, and now I'm going to just start with a pattern called gnome right away, right? So gnome is a pattern. So just to mention the name of the pattern, this is the pattern gnome, right? Gnome is a Zentangle original, so it is a pattern by Zentangle headquarters. Yeah, basically the complete name is gnome repus. So I'm starting with that pattern now. So I'm going to be drawing these series of S shapes like this, right? And then going to connect these by a slanting reverse S like this, right? So if you are new to the pattern and you are not able to understand how, then you can go to my earlier videos, and then coming from top to first half, little less than first half of the S, right? So that's where I'm joining the lines, again coming down, right? And I'll do the same exercise on the other side. Other side is easier because you just have to get to the same place on the opposite side, right? So this is the pattern gnome repus. I'm going to add few extra auras here and basically moving to another pattern called bunzo, using the curves of the gnome to create a pattern called bunzo, right? And I'll do that on the other side also. So it's up to us how many layers do we want to add. So we'll first draw the entire B, and then we'll see if we want to add some more. Yeah, so that's about the straight line. And then same pattern bunzo I'm going to add to give the curve of the B, just that I'm going to add 2, 3, probably one on the outside like this. Yeah, so again starting with the outside first, joining it here, again giving the curve of the bunzo, again another one. So basically drawing it upside down here first, starting from the ends and then getting inside. Yeah, and now I'm going to start inking it. So we'll pick up a little broader nib. So let us start to ink first. So you can either ink completely or you can leave a highlight. I'm going to be leaving a highlight. So spaces are a little small, so take your time and slowly ink the aura of the gnome, and then move on to the bigger bunzos. Yeah. So as I keep saying, it is just about exploring which tangle, how almost every tangle can be used to create these letters. Some will look little better than others depending on what shape are you putting it into, right? But ultimately everything looks nice. So as you do it more and more, you will be able to select your tangles more prudently. So again, I am inking the bunzo and I intend to leave a highlight. Like this. Yeah. So the second tangle that I've used here is called bunzo, and bunzo is another Zentangle original. So it is a pattern released by Zentangle headquarters. Yeah. So those of you who are following, just started following me or new to the channel, I've mostly done all of the patterns released by Zentangle headquarters. I've been running this series for last 1.5 years now, wherein I'm visiting every single Zentangle original pattern, that is pattern released by Zentangle headquarters, and by now I have done almost 90% of them, right? A few left. So you can always refer to my previous videos. Some of the older videos are not very clear, but I have used those patterns again and again since I draw a tile in each of my sessions. So somewhere or the else you will find those patterns being revisited again. So I'm going to do the same exercise on this side also. Right, so just bunzo is a very versatile pattern and you can use it in many different ways. It is a pattern which can accommodate itself in just about any space. It just grows the consecutive C shapes. C shape is the basic stroke of this pattern, of this tangle, and that those C's can, you know, just grow in just about any direction. You can maneuver it any way. So it's a drama tangle because generally it is inked, and it looks nice when it is inked with a highlight. Yeah. So this highlight is, there is always an option to either do it like this or do it with your chalk pencil. Both options are always there. Yeah. A small little doodle, yeah, some bit of mochas here, just a touch. Yeah. And now rest of the tile, again we will add a border. So many tangles to choose from. Let's first add a thin outline. Right, so I'm just going to add an outline to my tile, just add a border, but with the pen, because I want a base for the tangle that I'm going to be using. Otherwise this border need not be inked. And now I'm going to draw a pattern called flux, right? So I'm going to start with this, add ink, and then you can either start from the inside or you can start from the outside. Both ways it is fine. Right, so I'm just going to go on like this. A little different grid. Generally you draw a regular square grid and then place the pattern inside. However, I am deviating a little and giving this overlap kind of an effect to my tangle flukes. Yeah, and we'll see if we want to do one more layer of it. This is the first layer. So this tangle is called flukes. It is again a Zentangle original. Yeah, so this is the tangle flukes. So let me just draw this all around. I've done that exercise, and now I'm just going to add these small little squares, ink them just like we do for the tangle cubine, but with a little variation. We don't add these auras in cubine, but we will be doing that for our flukes. Yeah, I'm sorry. So again, auras. So there is no rule that the auras, number of auras have to be same, so just go with the flow depending on whatever spaces you have. Just insert that many auras. Yeah, so you can also start from the other side, and then whatever space is left in the end, you can ink that. All is good. Yeah, so continuing with the same process, adding a small square at the corner of these sections and adding auras. So flukes is a pretty geometrical looking grid based pattern, but you can always change its look, combine it with organic tangles also, and this is just one way. Just do away with the grid and insert it in this fashion around just anything. That's also possible, right? So we have done that one layer of flukes. Now we will just use our scoring tool. Right, if you want, you can add some auras here. Yeah, so I'm just going to pick up my scoring tool and add some sand swirls. Right, so the fourth pattern that I'm using here is called sand swirls. I've used this pattern couple of times earlier also. It's called sand swirl. It is not a Zentangle original. It is a tangle by Carrie Hune. Right, this is a tangle by Carrie Hune. So I'm just going to use my scoring tool and create impressions of that tangle over my. So what we are doing here is basically drawing a fescue shape like this, and then just adding auras around it like this. Right, so this is the basic pattern sand swirl, and you can draw it in any fashion, especially drawing behind looks very nice. So we are just creating a nice texture just as we did in all other tiles. So I'm just going to start and draw this over my flukes and add a nice texture to my tile. Right, so it is creating an impression on the tile. So just going to do that all around. just as we did in all our previous styles. Right, so you can always draw some hidden ones, draw behind, draw some small ones. Right, so I'll just keep going like this. So I'm almost finishing now, adding the last, the tangle sand swirl with my scoring tool, just to give some texture, adding some moons here and there. Yeah, I think we are done. If you want, you can add some texture inside here also, just the way we add in Shattuck. Yeah, I hope you can see. So I'm just drawing like Shattuck here. Shattuck is another Zentangle original. Just adding a little texture inside my bee. Yeah, that's about it. Right, so the last tangle that I used is called Shattuck. It is another tangle by Zentangle headquarters. Shattuck, this is by again Zentangle headquarters. It is a Zentangle original. So let us now move on to shading. So yeah, so I'm just going to add on the gnome a little bit just touching, not adding much because it is quite small in size. Adding at the edges, no need to add on the blacks. Right, so let us blend this first. Right, so you can see how the highlights are just looking like a shine or a luster. Then mild blending of inside, and you can see how it adds a nice and beautiful texture. The embossing that we did inside with Shattuck. Yeah, and then just a touch on the gnomes. They are pretty small, so we don't want the entire thing look gray. Yeah, a little bit here. Yeah, and then on the overlaps and flukes. Yeah. So the smaller the pencil, the better it is, because you can use comfortably its edges for shading, and it goes inside your palm, and that's the best way to hold the pencil for shading as far as Zentangle is concerned. Right, so use a small pencil, push it inside your palm, and just use the edges to add that graphite. So small spaces, don't blend too much, blend a little, just to give the effect of overlap. Yeah. And the teaser O that I made, I'm sorry I don't have a recording for that. Generally I don't record the teaser that I post. It's only when I start the series do I post, right? So again, for the rest we will use our colored pencil which we have been using. This is a chalk pencil. I use Creta color. You can use anything that is readily available. And it says reddish purple. Right. So you can see how beautiful the scoring tool, the embossing works. It's a nice texture for your tile. Right, I'm now going to blend it using a different blending stuff. So these chalk pencils are very nice to blend, very easy to blend, and they really looks nice as far as embossing is concerned. Another way of doing this exercise is to use your jelly roll. First add the color, whether you want to add graphite or you want to add color, and then you can use your jelly roll to create this embossed effect. Yeah, but I really like to do it this way because it looks very natural, looks like a textured tile. Right, so I really like the look, and that's why. And a little touch inside with this same color, whatever is there on your tortillon, just touch it inside, and that should be sufficient. Yeah, if you want you can add little chalk here, but I don't think it's required. You already have a highlight, but if you want you can redo it with your chalk and then just blend it with a different tortillon. So we are using 3 of them here, right? So you cannot be mixing your stubs, so mark them and keep them separate, else everything becomes black tortillon. Yeah, So that's about our tile for today. So I'm going to do a small little exercise. Add a little pattern called therefore. Yeah, this is the symbol, mathematical symbol therefore, and also a Zentangle pattern, right? Just to break that plain white space, just to add some Zen. Yeah, so just added a few of them here and there. I think it adds to the look of the tile, right? You can redo this line, so adding a little boldness to this outer line of my flukes. So once you have shaded and done everything to your tile, it's always a good idea to revisit some lines, right? And I feel like doing that for this one here, right? So I'm just redoing that line, the outer line of my flukes, to add a little more prominence. Yeah, and we are done, right? So that's our tile for today. I'm now going to place my chop here and sign and date it. Right, so take a moment to appreciate your tile, and we have already done 3 of them by now, right? So simple things, simple tangles that you can use to create beautiful letters, beautiful alphabets, right? I see you again with another new session, right? Till then, have a good time, stay safe.